Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video and hope you guys are doing well. Today, I'm going to talk in this video about Affliction Warlock and Cataclysm. Now, I mentioned it in the Demonology Warlock video, but Affliction Warlock provides similar to Demonology and Destruction in single target situations, but has a slightly different profile in AoE. But generally, if you enjoy any of the Warlock specs, they're pretty viable in Cataclysm, and I genuinely mean this when I say I think they are the most balanced of all of the classes, in that you can jump between the specs quite happily. So for me, I think people who play Affliction are going to be able to bounce through the other specs quite easily in terms of being able to play them and jump into that. So let's get into it. It's actually the least favourite of the three Cataclysm Warlock specs for me, but that's just my personal opinion. If played well, can still remain competitive, but probably not topping meters, other than in certain niche situations. There are some major differences between Wrath of the Lich King and Cata that adds a layer of quality of life, which is, firstly, a cooldown, thank God. Demon Soul, a cooldown that gives 20% periodic shadow damage. It basically depends on your pet, but you can always have a Fell Hunter, so it's always going to give you that 20% periodic shadow damage. A cooldown that dynamically updates your DoT damage to do significantly extra damage. You then have Dark Intent, which every spec has, but I mean, it's just insane what it does for, well, all of them, really. A buff that's given to another player that grants an insane amount of extra damage. Now, Haunt works similarly to Wrath, but now refreshes your corruption throughout the whole fight. In Cata, you have Curses and Banes. Curses are your standard things like Curse of Agony, Curse of Weakness, Curse of Elements. Basically, all of the utility things are now Curses. All of the damage stuff are now Banes, which is awesome. Curse of Elements now has an AoE component from your Affliction talents as well, which is just crazy. It actually makes you one of the best applications. Banes are your dots, so Bane of Agony, Bane of Doom. Previously, they were Curse of Agony and Curse of Doom. Bane of Doom is typically the best to keep on any target that lasts long enough to get a few ticks, and can only be on one target at a time, so you'll typically maintain it on the one priority target and agony the rest. Affliction played by good players will be able to spin all these wheels and be competitive throughout Cataclysm, although maybe not top tier. They have one of the strongest executes in the game, however, similarly to Wrath, and with both Corruption and Unstable Affliction being maintained by Drained Soul, you basically only maintain the 1 minute duration Bane of Doom, cast Haunt on cooldown, and Shadow Bolt to maintain the Shadow and Flame debuff if you need to. Otherwise, you just pump in with Drained Soul, and you do extreme amounts of damage. It's genuinely the most fun part of the fight. You then have AoE, because you have Seed of Corruption and Soulburn, which is something I didn't really mention, but Soulburn adds a lot of utility to just different abilities. You can Soulburn your Seed of Corruption, which spends a Soul Shard, and that Seed of Corruption will apply Corruption to everything it hits. So you really do get kind of that feel of just having dots out everywhere, which is awesome. So what does an Affliction Warlock bring to a raid? Well, firstly, Curse of Elements, which, due to the utility changes, you are one of the best applicators of this debuff. Effectively, you put the debuff on one target, and it creates an aura around that target that will apply the debuff temporarily to everything else. Optionally, you can bring the 5% spell crit bonus, which is Shadow and Flame, through talents, and with the use of the Fell Hunter, the additional mana buff and the MP5 buff can be brought as well. The spell crit and spell damage taken debuffs are relatively niche, but very important to get hold of. I personally don't plan on playing Affliction Warlock all that much in Cata, but for those that enjoy it, it's more than capable of being in a raid group. One final note, however, is the interaction between Affliction and the Legendary Staff. The proc from the Legendary Staff can actually duplicate DoT damage. Just consider how broken that is for an Affliction, just for a minute. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Do you plan on playing Affliction at all in Cata? Has this helped, hindered, all that good stuff? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. More coming soon. Bye.